Central America, home of the ancient Maya, Belize, Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras. Through 5 nations over 3 weeks, covering 2,000 kilometers, 20 teams volunteer to endure Camel Trophy, Mundo Mayan 95. In a matter of days, the teams have just one common aim: to explore the hidden world of the Maya and its history thousands of years old. Central America is as deadly as it is daunting. A place where man is not top of the food chain, where the rainforests and rivers are alive with the most striking and the most frightening. If the snakes don't get you, the spiders or the crocodiles might.
Okay.
1 million men and women applied for Camel Trophy Mundo Maya 95. 1 million from 20 countries. From Asia, from Africa, from Europe, and the Americas.
Come on.
1 million applicants, 40 places. The selection process in Turkey for the final 80 hopefuls was tough. For every 2 candidates, there was only 1 place. Each test of stamina, each test of driving skill, and each test of leadership could win or lose a place in Belize. After 4 days in the forests outside Istanbul, the international panel of selectors, many of them past team members, had chosen the 16th group of amateur explorers to experience Camel Trophy. Never before had so many been given the opportunity of a lifetime to experience Camel Trophy. 40 men and women whose dream it was to be aboard the plane when the teams arrived in Belize.
This train, pull to this train, and then turn to another train.
13 months since it crossed South America and the Atacama Desert, Camel Trophy is back on the road again. Back in Latin America to hand out more stress and strain to the exclusive club of adventurers who volunteer for action every year. Camel Trophy is 16 years old, but it does not get any softer. Belize is the kingpin of Camel Trophy Mundo Maya, the start and the finish, the headquarters and the nerve center. Caribbean by nature, Central American only by geography. Mayan, then pirate. British, now Belizean. A steamy melting pot, host to the ultimate adventure. Out of the jungle, in the awesome arena of the Mayan city at Lamanai, the sound of drums of Mayan ancestors and the lights on the Jaguar temple welcome the teams and guests to the start of the world's toughest adventure. For a moment, the sounds of the forest fall silent. Pensive, but excited, the teams soak up the atmosphere. At dawn, the drama switches from the stage to the special tasks, and they will be the cast, not the audience.
Camel Trophy means for Mundo Maya probably the greatest event. Camel Trophy Mundo Maya will position the Mundo Maya territory as a destination of magic, of exotic adventure, of real history and profound culture.
Maybe winch. Okay, 2 winches.
It is 48 degrees in the shade. The teams have only been in Belize for 2 days. Now the pain begins. 30 hours of non-stop competitive special tasks to hit them hard.
My first impression would definitely be the heat. I mean, I expected it to be warm, but I mean, coming from a Nordic country like Denmark, this is really hot. So my first impression would be the heat. I think the physical conditions will be very tough on you. The sun will be there, and you really have to prepare yourself. Drink a lot of water. Economize with your power. Don't speed it up like in the first hour or so. So I think physics will be extremely hard tomorrow morning.
Hard driving, hard orienteering, hard engineering. Lamanai Lift is one of the never-ending series of tasks designed to push the teams to their limits. The teams have just a day and a half to make the grade. And when night falls, the going gets even tougher.
A 15-kilometre course, we've got about 4 hours to do it in. It's extremely humid, looks like there's a thunderstorm moving in from over there steadily. We're just going to drink lots and not go too quickly and make sure we finish it rather than end up not being able to move after 2 hours.
6 hours into the torture of the tasks, strangers are now teammates, muscles are beginning to ache, and the intake of water is well into double figures.
It's a very satisfying feeling coming through the finish line right now. Paul and myself pushed it to the limits now, and I think we did pretty well. I couldn't give any more.
No, I didn't get it right, mate.
The climate is, I don't know, it's not easy, the climate, sure. The first day that we are here, I think we will be tired and it's not sick, but tired because the temperature is not useful for us.
Just starting. It seems like first a bee in the eye, and then failure on the task.
We had yellow.
The first casualty of the event is Italian dentist Stefano Bianconi. He collapses with heat exhaustion.
He's a dentist.
Can you make a fist for me?
That's a big line, you see. So.
Doctors Mike Irani and Rick Albertine are quickly on the scene. The day before, Bianconi became a father for the first time.
Heat and exertion. He had 3 tough ones. You know, this morning he was doing the Lamanai cross as well as the paddling just now and paddling in the morning. It's been really hot. It's 95 at the moment, 65% humidity, probably more. There's a cloud coming over, so it's increased. He dropped his blood sugar, he's dropped his blood pressure, and he's a dentist and he knows exactly the symptoms. He should recover, he should get his strength back. He's got another 2 weeks, he's got a convoy, he's got a 2 more weeks of convoy and trophy to go, and he's got special tasks at the end. He should rest up just at the moment, but we'll take it as it goes. We'll see what his blood pressure does, see how he feels, take it from there.
Survival, not winning, is now the aim as the impressive convoy of 32 Land Rovers pulls out of Lamanai. Ahead, along some of the worst roads in Central America, are rivers, mountains, dust, mud, and even bandits. After 30 hours and 11 tasks at Lamanai, the Polish team of Marek Klar and Wojciech Sławowiak have beaten the other 19 teams to a strong first place. For 2 weeks, until the second set of tasks back at Zunantunich, they will remain leaders of Camel Trophy Mundo Maya. But just behind them, the Greeks, South Africans, the newcomers from the Czech Republic, and injury-prone Italy have not lost sight of winning. Wojciech knows he has a lot to do. The first evening is a long one. The pain of the tasks is replaced with joy of starting the epic adventure through the Mundo Maya. The convoy is heading for the frontier between Belize and Mexico, the second of the 5 nations on the mammoth circumnavigation of the Mayan world. Never before has Camel Trophy crossed so many borders. Camp is at nightfall. In gaps between the vehicles, on ruts made by logging trucks, bed is the jungle floor. It is a haven for insects, and the insects are hungry. It is a nightmare for the participants.
The main problem has been the heat. Not so much the heat, but the humidity. There's a very high percentage of humidity. So we're always sweating. However much water we pour on ourselves, we don't cool down. It's given us a really bad time, and plus the fact that the insects, as you can see, they've taken a liking for my sweet blood. They don't give me a break. I'm better on over from head to toes. But apart from that, those are the 2 main things, heat and insects.
Dawn, the next day, is at 5 o'clock. The teams have already been up an hour preparing for an historic 10-kilometer route march through the jungle. A faint path is their only savior from getting lost. But still, a group takes a wrong turn and spends 2 hours disorientated under the forest canopy. The teams are trekking to work on an uncharted Mayan city to help a team of international archaeologists work for 2 days and a night to uncover the secrets of a millennium.
It was nice this morning to actually get in convoy in daylight. Granted, yesterday when we finally took off, that was it was fabulous. I think everybody wanted to just get on the road and let's start. As we go along, I think we'll be able to see and to be able to work with one another. Again, that's what Camel Trophy is all about.
This time we don't know how early it began.
Tired after the exhausting march into the forest, the teams meet the archaeologists and are given their instructions to plot and unearth the buried treasures.
What we're dealing with here is the lowland Maya, the tropical lowland Mayan. And this civilization lasted from, let us say, 800 BC to 900 to 1000 AD, at which time some catastrophe or some environmental collapse occurred, which we're not very well informed. It's very important for us to determine why this area was settled in the first place, and then why it was abandoned, because it's being very badly managed today. The importance of the site at that time was it was absolutely intact. Unfortunately, at this moment, that's not true any longer. In the last year, the site has been heavily looted. And that was one of the reasons that I talked to Camel Trophy about getting involved in a rescue mission here to gather as much information as we could before it was further destroyed by looters.
Because of Camel Trophy's efforts, the survey and such, we've learned sites much larger than we expected. The settlement is much wider than we expected. And of course, this location is one of the places that we found with the survey effort. And with the excavations, in addition to this late Classic period, we know from last night's excavations that occupation here begins at least by 300 BC in the late pre-Classic.
Last night we were digging near the temple A, and it was very interesting because we make a hole of 1 meter square, and we were digging and finding pieces of soppers and all the things, no? Plates, very nice. Some with pictures, and you know, it was exciting to find things that it's 600 years that they were there.
In 2 days, the Camel Trophy convoy achieved as much as 6 archaeologists in a year. Finding rare pottery and the site of the city's main plaza gave the teams a unique insight into the hidden Maya world. Making history gives the teams a buzz that overcomes their fatigue. As a result of their work, the city might now become a protected area, squeezed between Mexico and Guatemala.
It wasn't that much of a physical task as such. Okay, we did have a 10 or 12K walk-in. But for me, one of the really exciting parts about it is that you really felt as though you were in the jungle, you know, in some sort of tropical jungle, following a very narrow path. And it was great to get to the site and go charging off along the different survey lines and find stuff that very few other people have seen before. I mean, it gave us a chance to do something that I think very few other people get a chance to do in their lives. And it almost gives you a feeling of discovering something for the first time. And it's certainly an element that I think adds to the trophy. And it was great to get out there and go and find these things that so few other people have seen before. Great experience.
Still only 30 kilometers from Lamanai. The teams are itching to get back on the move. Only one track leads out of the jungle. If it had rained, the mud would have been impassable. If there had been mud, Camel Trophy Mundo Maya might have spent 2 weeks on the same track. Small pits of black mud sent a few wheels spinning, but the train kept on rolling. By nightfall, the teams have an appointment with Lake Petanitza, last stronghold of the Maya, the first bath in a week, and site for a giant group challenge in the morning. On the banks of the lake, the teams make the best camp of the expedition. In a cattle field, the discoveries form like a wagon train, keeping out intruders. But here, there are no intruders. The only company for miles is an army of hungry ticks living in the grass, and a lake full of fish 100 meters away. The teams are getting noticeably better at pitching tents and preparing supper. Every day, the time for the job gets shorter and the quality better. Teams from countries close to the Mediterranean make the most lavish dinners. The Northern Europeans, the worst. Before bed, a brief chance for Stefano Bianconi to think of Leonardo, the newborn son he has yet to meet. A new day, and the camaraderie amongst all the teams is about to be put to the test in a waterborne challenge. A race between 2 groups using rafts. A race for points towards the special task score.
Drop down. It's open, it's open. Okay. Left, left, left. This is right.
The teams were divided in 2 groups, and we had to put all the cars over to the other side of the lake, and we could use those floating rafts we have to pump up. And well, the thing was, who's doing this in the fastest time? We didn't know what was on the other side of the lake, so we went there first and see how we get all these cars through a swampy area to the other bank. And we didn't have enough material to do it for ourselves, so we used each other material, make one good track to the other side. It was not very easy to get on the bank, but with each other material we could make it. And so we help each other, and it was just the speed of bringing the cars over who depends who was winning or not.
There is no right way or wrong way to cross the lake, no rule book to stick to. Ingenuity is the only guide to completing the challenge. It has been months since a reconnaissance team stopped at the lake. Since then, the conditions have changed, for the worse. Across the water, in the weeds on the other side, the mud is knee-deep. The challenge is no longer beating the other teams, but beating the elements.
It was supposed to be a race, but we're working as just one big team. Because the conditions on this side of the shore are bad. There's too much mud. So we don't have enough materials to make 2 ramps. So we're working as one big team, and we're getting on fine.
Normally on Camel Trophy, the convoy runs as a whole, often up to 3 kilometers long, each car looking out for the next. In Guatemala, that all changes. Spread out like pathfinders discovering a new land, the teams unfurl Guatemala for themselves. The roads are bigger, but no better than the jungle tracks. Big potholes slow the vehicles right down, and a downpour turns the main road into a river. As trucks and cars wait for it to dry, Camel Trophy keeps moving. This is the real Central America. "750 kilometers separate the Petén and the Guatemalan border with El Salvador, where the convoy has plans to regroup. 750 kilometers in 2 days. Sleep is kept short. Up over the mountains of western Guatemala, where some of the world's best coffee is grown, the team see the country, warts and all. At the river Ostua, where Guatemala and El Salvador meet, the teams safely came together again. The Belgians had come close to crashing, but everyone else was safe. The dream of a final week waist-deep in mud looked to be coming true. But the reality of life on the road was a little more down to earth. A herd of cattle brought the convoy to a standstill. In El Salvador, the 4th of the Mundo Mayan nations, Camel Trophy donated a cloud forest research station to the Monte Cristo National Park.
without further ado, I'd like to ask the Vice Minister of Agriculture if by unveiling this plate I can officially hand over to the authorities in El Salvador and the Monte Cristo Reserve this building donated on behalf of Camel Trophy.
Monte Cristo is the latest in a long line of environmental projects the event has built or funded. The rains swelled the rivers on the border between El Salvador, Guatemala and Honduras, turning stream into torrent. Under the surface, huge boulders littered the riverbed. One wrong turn and a discovery could be left floundering in midstream. One at a time, following precisely in each other's wheel tracks, the convoy inched its way across the river. On the far bank, deep mud awaited the drivers. 2 vehicles were already up to their axles. One narrow track was the only way out of the river and back onto dry land. In the heat, the roads into Honduras dried very quickly. By 8 o'clock in the morning, the thermometer in the vehicles was nudging 40 degrees. The shade from palm trees on the roadside did little to cool things down. The teams prayed for more rain. Then, on the widest track in the jungle, with the going good, a lone cow threatened to halt the convoy. Eventually, it thought better of the idea, and the discoveries kept rolling. Honduras, the southernmost point in the exploration of the Mundo Maya, and the heavens are rumbling. A week late, the rainy season looks as if it will finally begin. In the shadow of the ruins at Copan, the greatest Mayan city of them all, the teams celebrate the turning point. The teams grab a snack before a brief night's sleep and a dream of mud for the journey north.
Good. Yeah, good. Good. Woo.
Well, I think it's perhaps not quite what some of the people expect. Camel Trophy isn't exclusively about driving. You get the whole special tasks side of it. You get the challenges during the trophy itself. And driving is only a part of it. I think perhaps people were expecting a little bit more in line with what we had in Turkey in terms of mud and winching, etc., etc. But Camel, I mean, they can't control the weather. That's the way it goes. Sometimes you have it dry, sometimes it's wet. In a way, we've saved ourselves a lot of time in traveling by having it dry. But then we've missed a lot of the fun of the mud and having to winch and that sort of thing.
A railway bridge marks the border between Honduras and Guatemala. Its wooden deck is broken and is only a few inches wider than the vehicles. The drop into the river below is hundreds of feet. The bridge is an impressive structure, but nothing compared with the rock roadway the Spanish explorer Cortés built through Central America. 450 years old, parts of it still stand today, but the road goes almost nowhere. Nowhere except along the route of Camel Trophy. The convoy is the first motorized expedition to follow Cortés' route from Honduras into Guatemala. The locals take bets that it won't succeed.
It's getting a bit tough, isn't it?
Easy, yeah.
But we'll get over it. It's no problem. It's just the odd rock. Okay.
Man and machine, muscle and Land Rover, the human and mechanical pairing get to grips with the ancient roadway. After 2 weeks in partnership, the teams and their vehicles are able to tackle anything Central America throws their way. Inch by inch, softly, softly, the teams nurse the Land Rovers over boulders and branches. Speed is not an option. Four-wheel driving at its best is an art practiced with brain, not brawn.
problema, Matteo!
Okay.
We're enjoying it. The only problem is the heat. It drains you. Really leaves you exhausted. I'm doing the driving right now, but before I was directing. Tomas was my partner. And when you're out in the sun and up the hill and down the hill and with the weeds and everything, it's tiring.
I mean, very hard work, very, very difficult driving. More or less, we had to dig our own roads here for the last, I would say, 2 kilometers. It's basically just a horse track, and we had to cut out the road ourselves, simply widening, find rocks to put into the tracks, and yeah, basically build a road. And that's hard work.
Gangs of team members gnaw away at the undergrowth and the deep ruts on Spanish Road, gradually clearing away along the historic trail. It takes an hour to edge forward 1 kilometer. Every hole has to be filled, every dead tree moved clear. The goal is to be free of the jungle by dusk. The teams step up a gear. One rut is too deep to fill, too wide to bridge. The Israeli car is its first victim.
The technique was just to make it safe so the car will not crash at the wall in the other side. So one car will make the safety and one car pull it ahead. That's all.
Even with the trail cleared, the jungle swallows cars and their drivers whole.
It's indeed a lot more interesting now because we are doing the track, which is a little bit more difficult. But of course, that means we stop for once in a while because the road has to be cleared. So now there's a lot of people up front clearing up the track, so we can keep going. But that happens all the time, so it's a lot of waiting.
There's a tree hanging over the road, and the cars can't get under it. So we have to dig a hole, which makes it deeper, so that both the Discoveries and the Defenders, because they are slightly higher, can pass through. Discoveries can get through now, but Defenders not yet.
Every lesson in four-wheel driving, every hour spent training for Camel Trophy, finally pays off. The teams are being pushed to their limits, the Discoveries to theirs. The odds for getting through are looking good.
This is true Camel Trophy stuff. Absolutely. We've had a really tough day today, doing quite a lot of driving through really tight mountain tracks. At first the going was pretty easy, just very delicate driving, very soft touch driving. We've come through a path now that apparently was used by the conquistadors a couple of 100 years ago or something like this, and it hasn't been used since. So through erosion and trees falling down and just the natural process, this track has been absolute hell today. We've cleared it as best we can. It's still a very testing track for the vehicles coming through. A lot of vehicles have been damaged, but it's really gratifying work. It's really getting stuck into it, and it's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun.
Right. Under darkness, the teams conquer Spanish track. 12 hours it has taken to crawl 12 kilometers. Each meter won back from the jungle, each hole bridged by hand. 450 years after Cortés, the modern adventurers escape from Spanish trap. For a day, they have been caught in its grip. The reward is Lake Izabal, where the fishermen had bet against seeing the convoy. To them, the impossible had just been achieved. The lake looks like heaven. Its fresh waters lap against hot white sand. The villagers live in thatched huts. Free from the jungle, the insects disappear. The heat drops, and the teams dream of a few days camping on the beach. It's an impossible dream. The clock is ticking. Belize beckons. There is time only for a swim before the convoy moves on again. Guatemala seems never-ending. Up the entire length of its long eastern borders, where roads are rare and where bandits roam, the convoy has 500 miles of motoring before crossing back to Belize. On their own again for 2 days, the teams make a break for Belize. The road north takes the teams back into the Petén, but in the east, the Petén is mountainous, not a jungle. The teams use their GPS satellite navigation compasses to find the right way. Japan's Katsumi Murayama is the king of navigation. His job is to find the elusive mud everyone was craving. The sting in the tail.
Good GPS and good map. We never lost the way. We reached here properly.
The teams are given the mud they wanted. Deep in the jungle, just into Belize, the tracks turned to mire.
We expected something like this all the time, but it was no raining, but now maybe it will be some mud and some winching and fighting with mud. We are looking forward for this.
In 3 weeks on the road, the teams have almost forgotten the living hell of the special tasks back at Lamanai. The highs and the lows of life on the road erase the memories of the competition. At Zonantonich, the most spectacular Mayan site in Belize, the reality of the final special tasks is about to come into focus, but not until after one more team challenge.
We thought it was, it looked pretty easy. We didn't think it was going to cause too many problems, but it was a bit of a shock to the system when we actually got stuck into it. And it was really hard work, mainly due to the flow of the river, trying to walk over boulders, etc. It made it very difficult indeed.
Basically, we had to build a raft, or we could, if we wanted to, build a raft and transport a Land Rover's spare wheel to a vehicle, then travel further down the river with the raft that we made out of pelican cases and a sand ladder. Come back, pick the wheel up, and get back to the start-finish area. Absolutely simple, but pretty knackering as it turned out.
3 weeks on the road weakened the team's energy and resolve. The challenge in the river is a rude awakening. Each step an effort, each breath a pain. But points are at stake. 4 teams power through the pain barrier to reach the final race. The Brits and the Canary Islanders are caught in the fast-flowing current. In the end, it is the South Africans who pipped the French to the post. The challenge brings most teams closer together just in time for the final 9 special tasks. They have another 30 hours to better their scores from Lamanai. The only saving grace at Zonantunic is cooler weather.
10 seconds.
A spring like 37 degrees Celsius.
Well, this task we're given a number of routes to drive of different or differing degrees of difficulty, each having a different point allocation. Some of them you can only drive through once, and there are 2 stones marking entry and exit points for each of the legs that you drive. The rule says that you can only drive each one once each way, and the one way you can only go down one way. So basically one person's got to run ahead with the map and navigate, and take the driver through the course as he sees best, to try and gain the maximum number of points.
The tasks are harder and the determination stronger than at Lamanai. The teams have everything to gain and nothing to lose. The emphasis is also more on driving. That doesn't impress the Poles, who have to defend their lead.
I think but the most difficult thing there was to find the proper way, I suppose, because this is the first time we have the map, and then to be on the road is the most important. I think that Wojtek has a good job, good work.
The most physical of the tasks at Zonantunic is Stone Woman, the translation of the city's name. 2 pairs of teams have to recover 200 kilos of Mayan stone from the bottom of the river Mopan. The stone is sitting on the river bed, 10 feet below the surface. The aim is to lift the Stone Woman with the winch on a team discovery. Each team has an idea of how the task should be done. Turkish and English echo across the water.
Come on! Come on! Vamos! Vamos!
It's not that easy at all. It's a hell of a lot of pulling and tagging we've got to do on that rope. We've got to pull this stellar uphill, up the winch cable, because we can't get it level enough. And I tell you, it's hard work, especially after we've been at it since 7:30 this morning. Whew, hard work.
In a task not unlike one at Lamanai, the Germans get to bend a few more panels on their Land Rover Discovery. The teams demand the utmost from their vehicles. The Discoveries have carried the teams around the Mundo Maya. Now the driving is all about winning the Special Task Award. It's hell bent for leather.
3, 2, 1, go!
The race at the top of the leaderboard is now between the South Africans, the Greeks, the Poles, and the Camel Trophy newcomers, the Czech Republic. All over Zonantunic, the tasks continue. The Swiss team is on its 4th team member, the participating journalist standing in for Christian Gremu, who cut open his leg on the River Challenge. Stefano Bianconi, the Italian dentist who collapsed at Lamanai, is faring no better at Zonantunic. He is nearing exhaustion, and only the encouragement of Matteo Pellin keeps him going.
It was difficult, you know. Matteo helped me a lot in all the canoeing task. When I get tired, he pushed me and, come on, Stefano. It was really, really nice, and this was a part of the spirit of war. The problem is always the same. After 2 hours, I felt without salts, and so, you know, also when I drink a lot, I hadn't the possibility to recover.
Hi, Stefano!
And I get tired. This was really the big problem, but now I know that Camel Trophy is going to the other side, not only vehicles, but more athletics.
Matteo continues alone. as does American Jim Sweat. Daphne Green twisted her ankle and is out of the event.
Go on.
In the French camp, Lionel Latard also collapses. The heat is too much.
After every task, almost every task, we are deadly tired. So if you are doing 30 hours, 7 times, deadly tired, it's not easy for your body and for everything.
More water?
It's really hard. I did many sports, but never, ever before I've been so many times so deadly tired in 2 days or in 1 day.
By the time the finale gets underway, the competition is virtually over. In 2 groups, the teams have a chance to enjoy the challenge of pulling 2 disabled discoveries across the River Maupan. All they have is their own manpower. Missing from the finale is a deeply disappointed Daphne Green.
This morning, it was clearly evident that there was just no way that I could use it. It's too swollen, it's too painful, there's ligament damage. It was incredibly difficult today to watch Jim perform all of the tasks. He performed 1 with Eric and then 2 by himself. I think for me at least the words helplessness and disappointment come to mind. It really was heartbreaking for me not to be able to communicate, and that's when I really realized how much Jim and I do communicate in a task, because I found myself sitting on the sidelines wanting to scream to him, "Jim, do this," but obviously you can't do that.
The finale is a battle of brawn. Only the strongest team will win. For the 4 countries still in with a chance of clinching the Special Task Award, being on the winning side is crucial. As chance would have it, 2 are on one team and 2 on the other. The first group have no trouble heaving their discovery over the rapids. The others are caught on a rock. Victory is floating away. Finally, the second vehicle springs free, only to get caught up with the first, which has sunk in 10 feet of water. In an extraordinary show of team spirit, all the teams joined together to free the first car. It looks like a fish tank and now weighs over 4 tons. Every man and woman is needed to shift it. The leading team get their discovery to within inches of the finish line and leave it there, instead rushing back to help the other group dislodge their stricken discovery.
They helped us. Let's help them. Yes, let's go. Come on, let's get the other car. Come on, guys.
Everybody worked together, even the 2 teams. One team suddenly stopped and helped out the other team to get the car out of the water because it was really hard pulling. So we all worked together very well. The cars went out quite fast. It was great. It was a great experience. All 40 people working together. It was good.
It's a dead heat. Both teams score equal points.
We're glad it's all over, but it's been tough. But on the other hand, it's a shame it's all over because we're all going to be going back to our own countries. I don't know if we'll be seeing any more of each other's. And I don't know, it's sad in a way that it's all over.
The Czech Republic has pulled off the near impossible, winning the Special Task Award at their first attempt. South Africa aren't far behind, neck and neck with the Poles. France takes 4th and the Greeks 5th. The accident-prone Italians incredibly hang on to 7th. The bouncing Czechs claim their prize at the spectacular award ceremony in the Great Plaza at Zunantonic. There are also 2 other awards up for grabs. First, the Team Spirit Popularity Award, voted by the teams for the team with the biggest contribution to the spirit of the event.
Of the 1995 Camel Trophy Mundo Mayan Team Spirit Award with a team spirit factor of 7.1 was a team from Russia.
The Russians have been the life and soul of the convoy for 3 weeks. Their supply of vodka has made them many friends. Now they have an excuse to drink some more. In second place, again, the South Africans. For anyone but the winners of the Team Spirit Award, the result is hard. The rest of the top 5 places are filled by the Canary Islanders, the Czechs, and the Belgians. Still, there is one result missing, the Camel Trophy, for the team with the best joint score overall in special task and team spirit.
The Camel Trophy Mundo Mayan 1995 is the team from the Czech Republic.
That really is an amazing double for the Czech Republic. That is their first time on the event. They've come straight in and they are overall winners.
The Czechs are more surprised than anyone that they have won Camel Trophy Mundo Mayan 95 at their first attempt. Never before has the competition been so tough. What's amazing, next year another 1 million would-be adventurers will apply for more of the same, hoping to win, but happy just to take part.
That's why this is a very, very big surprise for us. We've been maybe counting about the winning of prize in a special task, but not this one.
My mother will be really happy, I think. And I can say that South Africa is a really very good team, and I like them very much. They are a very strong and very good team. I thought that they will be winners, but now I'm happy that we are.